All right. So if you've ever pushed a project to GitHub and you do not know about this, it is absolutely possible that you've pushed some node modules, you've pushed a .env file, you've pushed a whole lot of information to GitHub that should not be there, that could expose your project from a secret and a security perspective, but also bog it down because from a performance perspective, because there are files and things that just don't need to be included. And what I'm speaking of is a .gitignore file. As simple as it is, it's something that you always want to include in your projects when you expose them to the internet, because there's a lot of sensitive information that could be shared. And if it gets in the wrong hands, it could be detrimental to the overall project and the user experience. So you may be wondering, what exactly is a .gitignore file? In the simplest terms, it's just a simple text file that tells Git what information should be ignored when making commitments with your code or when committing your code. It serves kind of like a filter to filter out files and folders that you don't want to have included within your repo. That way, everyone doesn't have access to this information. And it could be something as simple as notes for a project, or something extreme as a .env file that has secret API keys that you don't want exposed to everyone. So why is it important? It's going to make sure, like I mentioned, that the big folders aren't included when you're running your projects. If you look at your node modules, if you're running a node project and you click on that folder, you're going to see a whole lot of files within that folder. And imagine uploading that to GitHub that and really, you don't even need all of that information within it to make it function. You're just really using it to run your code, but it's not necessarily needed in GitHub. So it's going to slow your application performance down by including all of the files and folders that aren't needed. And like I mentioned earlier, the security risk that you're running if you don't ignore certain information can expose your project's database or whatever the secret API key is that you're holding. So you always want to make sure that you include it. And the way that you can add this in the root of your project, all you do is, if you're in VS Code or most code editors, I should say, for that matter, in the root of the project, you just add a folder with .gitignore. Once you press enter, it's going to give you that text file, and from there you have the ability to add in different files, different folders that you want to have ignored as you're making commitments to GitHub. Most applications or frameworks are going to automatically include it when you download their applications. However, if it's not included, just make sure that you include that .gitignore file. Anything that you don't want to have committed or exposed on your public GitHub repo, be sure to include it. Otherwise, code at your own risk. Be smart, have fun, and remember, don't give up.